Okay, so it looks like we're live. Welcome everybody. And it's Monday, it's 5 o'clock. So it's not like the old thing in the UK where it's 5 o'clock and it's a Friday, it's crackerjack. It's 5 o'clock, it's Monday, and it's Innerstrength, Innercise live. So welcome to episode 10, the life-changing impact of cleansing and detoxing. And if you did see the advert earlier in the week, it might have been cleaning and detoxing, but we added the S, which I'm told makes all the difference. So I've got the gorgeous Melissa Wilkes again joining me tonight to talk through all things cleansing and detoxing. So I'm excited to have you back here, Mel.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I have my conscious cuppa, my green juice, and I'm going to be enjoying sipping away at that, and also some water. See, Mel's got her water as well. So if you're dropping in live, please let us know. Say hi, let us know where you're coming from. Ask questions anyway, all the way through, Melissa or I, and if we have the answers, we will answer. If not, we will find you the expert that can. And if at any time, you know, you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and again, feel free to ask any questions, tag Melissa or I in the responses or your questions, and we'll get back to you. And I'm sure Melissa has something to drop into our comment box as well at the end of the session. So let's get into it, Mel. So what is a cleanse or a detox anyway? What's all the fuss about?
So it's where we kind of, I think there's different ways of explaining it. My version is where we just sort of like do a bit of a reset. So I think that we start the new year, especially January time. We have all these great intentions of how we're going to live and eat and be healthier. And it gets to like February and we've forgotten half of the little promises that we've made to ourselves. And we get to March and we're literally not doing many of the things that we had planned to be healthier. So it's just really about getting back into the goals and the focus of health, and it's following a bit of a structured plan to change some of the food, some of the lifestyle, and some of the habits that you've been making. Just flip them around and implement some newer, cleaner versions. And so usually they're short. They can be long periods, so usually they're quite short. So you usually hear 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days for cleanses and detoxes. And they're usually to, reset the system. But I think it's actually resetting here because we have to get that focus back in and go, okay, I need to do this for myself and I need to focus on this area. So that's where I sort of think it's a bit of a reset of the thought patterns around our health and what we need to be doing to look after ourselves.
And I think that was what must have grabbed me, because I've actually done one of your detoxes, well, a couple of them now, hence the green juices that appear in my daily life, or weekly life, I shall say, not strictly daily. And I think that it was the words around reset. If I'd read some, Facebook copy and things that we talk about and all these sorts of words and seen it was full of, green goodness and green goddess and green juices, and I would have thought, oh, no, I can't do that. It's like sludge, right? It's that sort of like, green gunge. And I couldn't do it. But the wording around the reset, I love, because it is, we know there's so much power in the mind and the way that we think and the thoughts that we tell ourselves. And I think having that reset, how would I say it? The reset, the mindset of reset, really, isn't it, around different areas of life, that when you go through your challenge. So I'm sure you'll be telling a little bit more about that as we go through. But so I suppose, is there a fuss around detox? So I seem to think that detox is either a buzzword, it's in or it's not, or it's cleanse, or it's called something else, And is it something that suits everybody? Can anyone do it?
Yeah, sure. So I think that the whole health, fitness and diet industry is just, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So whatever keywords can generate popularity, it's used. And so cleanse and detox is used for, marketing purposes. I mean, you can see that on drinks that are in the supermarket. So, and when you read what's in them, they've got nothing to do with a detox or a cleanse. So, you've got the clever marketing around there. I think that if you really once you've done your first cleanse, proper controlled, looked after with somebody like a health professional that's doing it with you, once you know how to do it, then you can generally do it for yourself when you know that you need to. So I think it's about really understanding when the body needs to. Do we all need to do it? I believe so. I think things have changed a lot, where a lot more people are eating foods that are not 100% natural. And so that means that there's synthetic parts to it. Our environment, more than ever, is full of toxins. And our body does such a great job of trying to get rid of them, but it's only so much it can do with the overload we give it. And it's also, as well, the stress that we're generally under a lot. So getting away from all the stress for the week, but really focusing on your health and well-being. So I believe that they are beneficial to nearly everybody, depending on what health issues you are experiencing. I've even had cleanses I've ran and had pregnant women that have done them as well and had amazing results, because there was no restrictions for them. So there was nothing that they were missing. If anything, it was really good for them. They noticed energy and clarity because they were increasing so many of the healthier foods. They were prioritizing themselves as well. So I believe that they are good, and I run them 2 to 3 times a year because I actually do them myself. And that's what I'm like. There's nothing that I say you should do this and I don't do it myself. I'm a big believer that you've got to walk your walk, not just talk your talk. So, I think that for me, I know the benefits I get out of them are fantastic. And my son, who's 13, I mean, he's been doing cleanses with us for over 5 years. So he was quite young. I just tweak it to fit. He's obviously going to eat a lot more than me on a cleanse. So I just tweak it to fit the person's situation so that it's right for them. But I believe we all can have a nice, good flush out of the system, give our digestion a bit of a rest, immune system a bit of time to reboot itself. Our nervous system really needs to be able to have an opportunity to get into more of a calm state. So it's really interesting when you watch people go through the cleanses. They sort of start off at the start of the week in a certain mindset. You get to the middle of the week and there's all these sorts of serious stuff going on, and a few conversations about poop, because that definitely comes up. It's like, what's going on here, Melissa? Help me. And that's all the toxins coming out and all the flashing.
And headaches. Yeah, headaches was a big thing for me. Yeah,
especially if you go off coffee. So that's one of the things I think. People think that they're going to feel really sick on cleanses or detoxes, depending on the ones that you go and do. But the one I run, the only thing that gives you the side effects is actually going off caffeine. So going off caffeine, the last few years, I've made it optional, because some people are, especially if it's their first time of cleansing, it might just be that they just need to give their digestion a rest. And on the next cleanse they can look at doing that, but also reducing the caffeine amount, because caffeine is generally what we get a lot of the headaches from, is that's a big withdrawal that we notice. So yeah, that's
So when you're saying, you do them yourself 2 or 3 times a year, and I know that, within the cleanses that I do with you, it's 2 or 3 times a year as well, but I hear some people saying that they do them, every month or every couple of weeks they're doing a cleanse or a detox. I don't know whether they're different or the same. Is that healthy?
It's really hard to gauge when you don't know the person's situation. Maybe they need it for their health. They need to be reboosting quite often. If you are looking after your health on a regular basis and you're feeling that your health is in a pretty good, so you're not sick at all, and you're at a good level of health and you're working towards optimal health, you could have a few more cleanses. But I don't see that there's a need to go over the top with it. And I don't know how what's the right word? How controlled you can really be for that amount of time, strict or restrictive. So in my way of working with people as a nutrition coach, I don't believe in being on strict diets or having a restriction as such, because I feel like that can really take its toll on the body and on the mind. So when we know we're restricted, when we're not restricted, we go over the top. And also, if we're eating the same foods all the time, even if they are healthy foods, that is not necessarily good for you. So it really depends why the person's doing it all the time. And is there really a need for it?
Yeah.
You could overdo it if you were doing it a lot, depending on how you were doing it, because there are so many different cleansers and detoxes out there that it just really depends on the one that they're doing, especially if it's a sachet one. I don't know. Yeah, that it really depends what's in the sachet. I don't do anything that's out of a packet, as you know. I'm a big believer and we don't use packets. So all the cleansers are using your own food. And so that in itself is not too bad. It's when you are looking at ones where you're just juicing for, that's the only source of fuel that you're receiving is just juices. If you do that too much, you could find that you have other issues that come up because you've overjuiced. So you can have too much good health. You can have too much of bananas. Like, you can overdo things. So there's got to be that fine line. And so when I do the cleansers, I know when I'm ready to do them. And I do believe that cleansers are really good for seasons as well. So when we go into a new season, our body does need to do a reset, and our bodies are designed to store fat and all that sort of fun stuff through winter, because that's when we would not be able to go and get as many of our foods as normal back in the years and years.
The caveman land.
Caveman days, that's when our body would store fat. So spring and summer is a bit different, especially spring, where we're a lot more active because the weather's sort of not too hot, not too cold. So this is where our time for shedding. So it's a perfect time for cleansing. So if you're in Australia, September, October is a fantastic time. And that's generally, I always run a cleanse then, because I find it works really well. And it's an opportunity to flush out the organs that have generally been, had a bit of overuse throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so, we're really probably ready for it by then.
And getting ready for the Christmas overuse again, hey?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I usually run them in January as well, because it's just too, if most people overload the body and the system at Christmas time, they just give themselves that free rein to just go nuts. I know I did. Kids were really young, I drank, ate. You definitely eat more than you need to. There's just too many yummy foods that you're giving yourself permission to eat. So January is another good time as well, because even though you're kind of getting into the heart of summer, it's a good time to flush out all those toxins and that overeating, and give your digestion an opportunity to sort of relax a bit after what you've just put it through over Christmas. So again, another reset.
So are those some of the things you've mentioned, benefits of detoxing then, or are there more benefits that you can think of you'd like to share with us?
Lots of benefits, definitely. So what I find, my body has the ability to heal itself, like I said earlier, and it's important to really understand that it can do that. But there's only so much our body can do. It's not a miracle worker if we are inundating it with different things throughout the day. So most people are not 100% making their own food. So they might be eating a bit of food from packages, buying takeaway, eating on the go, being exposed to additives, preservatives, synthetic foods. So you've got that to deal with. Or sluggish foods that aren't really good for the body, aren't really fueling the body. And then you've got all your environmental toxins, so the things you're breathing in, the places that you're going, whether you're getting enough vitamin D or not throughout the day. Then the stress as well. So are you in a stressful job, or are you a stay-at-home mum dealing with kids and finding that quite stressful? So whatever your stress is, you know, how much are you actually feeling? And also the things that we put on our skin. And that's something that I don't know how many cleansers and detoxes have this in their cleanse, but I definitely do it in mine. And that's that we do some healthy routines and rituals to help get rid of any toxins and chemicals that we have within the body in the way of like our skin. So our skin's our largest organ. So certain rituals that we do to remove the toxins from our skin, from our tongue as well, and also from helping our waste come out. So this is going to sound a bit gross, but what you can find is sometimes our body can't digest food the way it needs to, or it's not flushing things out, and you can get particles and all sorts of bits of old food sort of not really digested or gone through the system the way it should. And when we cleanse, we just can flush anything that's old, that's out. It's when you learn a lot about gut health, you can really sort of see that there's quite a bit of quite
it's like a big pipe cleaner, right? Just pushing up there to clean everything out and put the pipe.
Yeah, you've got your straw and you've got those little brushes you get in those fancy straws. You know, that's exactly what we're doing when we have the cleanse. We're flushing and making sure it comes out. And so then when our digestion is activated again, you know, we're waking up our enzymes, we're waking up our digestion in a healthy way. So it's ready to break our food down. And what you notice by the end of the week is that mental clarity. You notice the fogginess go, you can think really clearly, and you notice it in the whites of your eyes, your skin, you can see it in your skin. I definitely notice it in my skin by the end of the week. So some people notice it in the middle of the week, but most people more of the end of the 7 days, you can really see that alertness come in. And you should be able to feel that more energy, less of the sluggish feeling. And then we're not putting our organs through too much pressure and making them overwork. So yeah, lots of benefits from it for sure. And I think that everyone has different results depending on how far into it that they go. And some people decide to keep going on a milder version of the cleanse for another 7 days because they've had fantastic results and they want to keep going. So it could just be that you've found that you're just focusing on yourself and you're being more aware of what you eat, what you're doing, how much sleep you're getting. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I feel so amazing. I do not want to go back to the way I was before.
Yeah, no, I love that. And while I was out today, I found myself a brand new body brush. So I thought, oh, that was something calling me to buy that off the shelf while I'm away from home at the moment. I don't have one with me. So I thought that would be really good. So a little bit of self-care as well, which is also good. So we've talked about the benefits of cleansing and, you know, like, I guess what all the fuss is about and when we should do it and who it's for and all those sorts of things. So I guess if I was to ask you what the main thing, well, the one reason or the biggest reason for you why we need to do it, what would that be?
The biggest reason? I think it's just to get that focus back on our health, to be really honest. I mean, I could say how I've just given you all the benefits of our body, how our body responds to it and how great it feels after. But I think for me, as a nutrition coach and working with clients, when I see them at the end, it's that realization that they're not prioritizing their health and they're not focusing on themselves. They're not putting themselves first, and they're really not finding the time to do stuff that's really not that hard. And, you know, people go, oh, you know, I'm so busy. I had to buy takeaway a couple of times a week, when it's not that hard to make food either. It's really not. It's only
all in the preparation, hey?
Absolutely in the preparation. But even if you had 5 to 10 minutes, you can bang a meal together that's healthy really easily, as once you know how to do it. and there's really no reason to be buying the takeaway. But we just get caught up in these habits, you know, we're just doing the same thing all the time, and we don't even realize that we've got ourselves caught up into this habit of just doing the same thing and getting no results. So yeah, to answer your question, I think it is to reset the mind and the focus back on our health. And really to go, you know what, this is really important. I actually need to be doing this, because before I did this cleanse, I had no energy. I've done this cleanse. Not only do I have energy, but I've got all these other things going on. And the other thing I really love to see is the ripple effect. So what I find is I generally will work with just women, but their partners, their children, you know, because, you know, kids will be like, Mum, what are you doing? What's that smoothie for? Can I try it? And, you know, that's an opportunity to get them in front of even more vegetables without them realizing it. And partners, I don't know about you guys, but I have a husband who's loves his meat. So he did not want to do the cleanses with me for the first couple of years. And he's been doing them for 4 years now. The first cleanse he did, he lost 6 kilos. He was just remembering about it yesterday, actually, when he was cooking meat. And he was saying, I need to have a break from meat for a week. And I said, that's okay, because the cleanse is coming up on the 11th of October. So you will be having a break of meat. And so he literally, it's not that he is not a good eater. He's a great eater. You know, he's married to me, but he definitely eats large quantities of meat. That's red meat. When I'm talking about meat, I mean red meat. Large quantities that he really doesn't need to, and a lot of cheese and a lot of dairy, and a lot of that stuff is quite heavy for our body and hard to digest. So having a bit of break from those foods, you notice the difference. And he's a big coffee drinker, so he's really great, and he's really strict on himself, and he cuts the coffee, and he doesn't really get headaches like the rest of us. So that works. But, you know, that first time when he lost 6 kilos, so now I don't have to talk him into cleanses. He's ready to do them. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna lose weight. Like, can't believe how easy it happens. You know, but as well, it's just like putting his mind back into that, you know, makes his lunches, he makes his breakfast the night before. I don't even have to tell him. And I'm like, wait, don't forget about us. You know, so the ripple effect is really great, because it's sometimes we don't want to think that we're changing something too long term or too hard. And so when we think of something being, you know, 7 days, like, oh, this is totally achievable. And you can get to the end of the 7 days and think that wasn't too hard. I really liked the dry skin brushing, like you said, you just bought the brush. Really liked that. That felt really good. I noticed a difference in my skin. I noticed a difference in my like lumpy bits of my body. That's why I do dry brushing. I love seeing those disappear. And so you decide to keep doing it. So you keep those, you know, it might not do everything from the cleanse, but you keep some of those rituals up, and, you know, you keep going with them. And, you know, it might come a few months later, 3 or 4 months later, and you've forgotten to do it. You remember the cleanse or a detox, and you know what to do for yourself. So, yeah.
So in terms of the detox itself, then, so do you just do it, like you said, with I guess recipes of, you know, what to make and all fresh, you know, fruit and veggies and different things, or do you add in supplements or recommend things to your client? How does it work, like, you know, like that?
Yeah, sure. So there are recipes. There are recipes supplied. Absolutely. And the other suggestion is, if you've got recipes that you really like, you're welcome to send them to me, and I can just check them, and I'm happy to tweak them and make suggestions. So if there's something in there, you know, I would say, hey, look, don't have that, but you don't need to miss out. You can still have this recipe, just swap that ingredient for this ingredient.
Okay.
It might have potato, sweet potato and pumpkin all in the one recipe. And I would say, look, normally it would be okay, but this week we are really trying to watch the starchy, heavy kind of carby foods. So just pick one of those root vegetables instead and just have a bit less of it, so you're not overdoing it. So it might be just little things like that. So because, like I said, I do the cleanse as well. I'm there with you every morning. I hop in live and I'm showing you and explaining it, and you've got that opportunity to ask questions as well if things come up. And if there's recipes that you want to try out, you've been looking at, and you want to know how that would work. But I do supply the recipes. I supply, I believe we've got to try and make it easy. So I do a lot of tutorial videos, but I also supply or share with you a great program that you can use online or on an app on your phone, and all the recipes that I share are on there, and then you can create your meal plan for the week. So I'll show you every step of how to do all that, and that's something a lot of people have actually decided to keep going with because they've really enjoyed it and found it works really well. And that's that actual program that I show you how to use. That's something that I started using nearly 10 years ago on and off, and that program has got so much better now that you can, you know, use it for your own family or for yourself long after the cleanse is finished. So yeah.
So you don't necessarily recommend any supplements as such, then it just mainly all just food based? Yeah,
it is food based. I do have supplement recommendations in there as suggestions only, so not technically recommendations, they're more suggestions. The biggest thing I do recommend is probiotics. So I recommend you eat prebiotic foods. So that is like your fertilizer for the gut. That kind of goes in there. It's like the undersoil before you lay the lawn. So that they're great. So getting things like your kimchis, your sauerkrauts, those sort of foods, like proper kombucha into your gut, and then following it up with a probiotic. And I do recommend a couple of brands that I find more practitioner related brands, quality probiotics. So that can fertilize your gut. So as you're doing the cleanse, especially towards the end, you've got an opportunity of putting some healthy gut bacteria in, so you can have a bit more of a balanced microbiome. And that's actually one of the key reasons why cleanses are so good for us, is that we can balance out the microbiome. So have a good amount of bad and good healthy gut bacteria in there. So that's generally where we notice a lot of the symptoms that we're getting before that sort of go after, is because we've cleaned up that cleaned up the gut. And it's funny because some of the routines you do, you can actually see the heavy metals come out. There's little things that I show you along the way, and you see it and you're like, oh wow, I didn't know what that was. But there's also that we can have parasites in our gut. Well, most of us do have parasites. And there are some parasites that are supposed to be there, right? But there are also parasites that got heavy metals in our gut, so then we can get symptoms from that. So I kind of try to teach you without overwhelming you too much, but there's and I teach you so that you know how to do these things. So if you are connecting with your body and you're seeing signs and symptoms of your body struggling, or you know, having an imbalance in different areas, that you can do certain things that will support it to get back to the level that you're wanting of your health.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa, for explaining all of that. I think even for me, although I've done a couple of cleanses with you, I now have even more clarity around, you know, why I need to do it again. I'm actually looking forward to it, and the benefits, because I know, you know, each time I do it, I tend to do more of it, you know, and stay on track more. You know, the first time, I admit I wasn't very on track, but each time it's, you know, I get better and more disciplined. So it's a really great thing. So I'd love you to share, you know, with any of the listeners here, the link to your cleanse, if you'd love to, underneath this live, so people can certainly find and connect with you, because I think it's something that will serve a lot of us in a good way. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Oh, I just, I really appreciate putting the cleanse underneath, and just to let people know that once you've joined the cleanse, you've got lifetime access. So I don't actually do the cleanses really to make money. They're very affordable, like the price of your coffee, buying a takeaway coffee every day for a week. But what I do what I do love is to see people, as you said, every cleanse we do, they kind of really hone in a different area. They nail it. And then the next cleanse, they go and work really hard on another area and nail that. And so it is something where it is great to give everybody lifetime access, because we can keep growing as a community in there, and supporting each other through the cleanse, and knowing that you can keep doing, you know, the spring one, the straight after Christmas one, and then the winter one that kind of boosts you up for winter and giving you a bit more of that winter wellness that we're needing. So we've got a strong immune system to support us through the cold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me. As usual, it's been a pleasure. And remember, guys, if you're watching the replay, please #replay. Ask any questions. Melissa's a fountain of knowledge. You know, he is, so I'm sure she'll jump on and answer any questions that you may raise. And if not, click on the link, and I hope to see you in the cleanse. We can do it together and keep each other accountable.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks then. Good night.